Hi YouTube, this is Felicia with Bible Scraps, and this is part 2. The other day I shared a tutorial on how to make professional molds with clear stamps. So here you are looking at molds made from my clear stamps. In this video, we are going to mix together our resin and decorate our molded pieces to create the cutest embellishments. Now, if you are interested in my tutorial on how you can make your very own professional molds with your clear stamps, do check out the video. It's in my description box. I will also link my molding playlist. Okay, so it's summertime and it's all about molding because molding works best right during the summer. And I tell you, we got some heat. Okay, the product I will be using in this video is by Smooth On. This is my favorite resin to use. Like many of you, I used the amazing casting resin that you could pick up at Michael's, and my box is like really old. Well, I no longer use this product. Now I use this one, and I will tell you all about the reasons as we progress in this works just like the amazing product. It sets in about 10 minutes, except this product is clear, and that's what I like about it. With the amazing, and you know what, I think amazing, if I remember correctly, they might have this in the clear as well. I don't know. I gotta look that up because I know one product turns white, but they might have a clear one. But anyway, this one sets in about 10 minutes, and what I love about it, if you saw my video from the other day, I shared these pieces. You can create translucent and light colored resin pieces. You cannot do that with the product that turns white. Okay, so to get started, you need gloves, but you know what? I have not molded in a good while, and everything I use to mold with is pretty much in the garage. The only thing is, when I go in the garage, the mosquitoes attack me. For some reason, last year, I started getting attacked by mosquitoes. I walked in my backyard and came back in with about 20 bites. And mosquitoes never did really bother me before. So now, in order to go in my garage, I have to suit up. Put on pants and long sleeve shirts. And then also I used a spray. And I still come back in with bites. So I said, you know what? I'm not going out there. Whoops, excuse me. So just take off this foil. Once again, you would want to have on gloves because, I mean, it can get messy. I'm going to try to be as careful as I can, but I'm already starting off not so careful. I normally use Dixie cups and the smaller, like the 1 ounce medicine cups. Once again, those are in the garage. I use those to measure. Now I have these larger containers, and because I have not molded in so long, I mean, I forgot how, I know how to do it, but I forgot all that I used. All right, so you need to pour equal amounts. So I'm going to pour the blue here. I don't want to pour too much because I forget how much is made when I pour them individually. So it's trial and error right now for me. Pour a little bit more. You do want to be precise when you measure these. Now, if you're clumsy like me, you need to put your lid back on immediately. And it said to shake well before using. Okay, so I didn't do that, but you want to do that. What I will do is stir well before I use it. I have missed molding so much. I'm so happy to be making resin pieces again. Now, I'm going to color this, and I'm going to use a product by Castin Craft, and it's my favorite color they offer. It's amber. And I forget which one you should pour this into, but you know what? I've poured my color into both of them. You don't want to add a lot of this. A little goes a long way. I mean, even a full drop would probably be too much. This stuff is really concentrated. Okay, and so you want to mix that together. Before I look at my very cute flamingo, I love it. But do you see those little blue specks? That's because I did not, and it doesn't happen all the time, but I did not add any oil to my molds before I molded, at least the first time. So I'm going to spray my mold. I will purchase the mold release. I've never used it. I've always used cooking spray or olive oil, but by my next video I will have mold release just to try it out. And you can pick up some of your oil if you have too much. And adding the oil should prevent the actual mold from becoming embedded in your design. Alrighty, now we need to mix these two together. You could pour into a separate cup, or you could just pour one into the other, and I'm going to do that here. Now you do have to mix pretty fast because this will set. So you want to stir it for at least 30 seconds. You will feel your resin heat up, and it's already heating up. Alrighty, so this is where it might get a little messy because I don't have my pour spout. So what I'm going to do is pour into this large one first because it's going to require more mold. And you pour until it fills up. And then I'm going to pour in the other molds. So I'm doing this in real time to give you an idea of how long this will take to cure, to set. And I poured just enough to fill up all of my molds. I have a little bit left. If I could hurry up and pour it before it sets because it's warm. Now I made this smaller mold with leftover, and you could see oops, okay, so I poured too much there and it's thickening up. Okay, so it's been about 13 minutes. It should be set. My resin feels a little warm. Let's go ahead and demold. Ooh, you see how easy that's popping out? The oil really makes a difference. Now, you are going to see, what is this called? Bubbles in these pieces. That's the only downfall when you use this particular product. I don't know why it gives bubbles. It states it's not supposed to. But if you use a darker pigment, you won't see the bubbles. I'm using, well, I use this amber color, and it's a light color, so I got the bubbles. But I plan on tinting or covering up the colors. Ooh, I kind of like how this looks because it's a coffee container or coffee cup. That might serve my purpose well. So I'm going to see what I could do with these pieces as is. But I wanted to show the result you would get if you decided to use a lighter color. So these pieces they're flexible. They have not totally set yet. I need to let these sit a bit so they can get hard, because I could actually mold these into a particular shape. I don't want to do that. So I will be back in about 15 minutes. Okay, so it's the next day, though I did make, look at this. I love how it turned out. I made this yesterday. I had to figure out my technique because it's been a while since I used this technique. And take a look at my iced coffee cafe. Don't that look real? Now, you could attach the two together. I have not done that yet, but I love how this turned out. And you know what? This was not hard to make at all. Now, if you have matching dies, or you could fussy cut, you could paper piece. I don't like how this side looks, because you could use either side. Take a look at how this side looks. My son stated this one favors a root beer. Did he say root beer float, perhaps? I might play around with that idea. Now, to make these, it's super duper easy. I created more mold pieces. And for this particular coloring technique, we are using alcohol markers. In every video, I'll try to experiment and use a different color medium. So I've taken a dark brown marker and outlined these lines just to give definition. And I like how that brown pops out, how it looks. So super easy. So for this one, I've already done it. I used Neon Amplify. If you have that liquid applique, you could use that too. Some crafters use puffy paint. That may work as well. I applied this and then I heat set it. No, heat will not affect your resin pieces, because when you mold your resin pieces, the heat is what causes the mixture to set. So I don't know if you heat for a long time what will happen. It'll probably become moldable. But anyway, now to create this iced look. Ooh, it just looks so realistic. This is what you do. You take your alcohol re-inkers, and I forgot what colors I used. I did not take any notes. Oh, I didn't show you guys my donuts. Take a look at these donuts. Don't that glaze look real? Love how they turned out. These will make the cutest embellishments. Okay, so we're having coffee and donuts. I'm going to take the Caramel Ranger re-inker and drop in a couple of, or several drops. And then you're going to use your glaze of choice. I'm using Journey Glaze with Fun Stampers Journey. And you drop some glaze in. Now, it really don't matter if you put the glaze in first or if you put in the alcohol first. You will get like different types of swirls, but you could play around with it. You're not going to go wrong. Okay, so I think, yeah, I used caramel. And you could take some type of tool with a pointed end, and you could swirl if you like. When I made this one, I got some interesting looks. I think I put the alcohol markers down first and then added the Journey Glaze. So you don't have to use a lot of glaze. It really don't require a whole lot. I'm just playing around to see what different effects I'll get if I apply the glaze first or alcohol marker, alcohol re-inker first. Okay, now let's stir this. And by the way, I have to show you a difference in the colors of my molds. And the one I did yesterday, I used the amber resin dye, but for the ones, let's see, for these pieces here, let me compare these two. There is a color difference. I used yellow for this one. So yellow gives a lighter tint. They appear to be the same color family, but the amber is just, it gives you that amber color. Okay, so you play around and move. Oh, I love how this looks. You move your glaze around. Now to give it that iced look, we are going to add one of my favorite all-time products to use, and that is glass glitter. I got mine from Michael's. It's by Recollections. And just pick up a little bit and sprinkle it in. This clear color is hard to find. If anyone knows where to pick up like a bag of it, because I use it that much, please let me know. But the glass glitter will give the iced look. Check that out. So you could make any flavor that you desire. How about for the fall or a Christmas iced cafe? You could experiment and have fun with this. Okay, so this needs to dry, but I just want to see if I put my cap that way, I get one look, and turn it around and get another look. So the final thing I'm going to do with this, I want to add acetate to cover. It will be the front or the back, depending on how you want to use it. I've used StazOn ink, which is a permanent ink, perfect for stamping on acetate. And I will link where I purchased my acetate. I love the quality. I get it at a really good price. Take your glaze. Oops, you don't want to touch the inside while it's still wet. But take your glaze and you're going to apply glaze around the perimeter. You don't need a lot. You just want to add enough so the acetate will hold and stick. Okay. Take your acetate and place it over. Press it down gently and give that a chance to dry. You can lift it up. Now, I'm not sure if you can see, but a little bit of glaze is seeping over. I mean, that's okay because eventually it should mix right into your iced coffee. If not, you can remove your acetate and use your tool to mix it in a little bit. Keep in mind, you can continue to add alcohol, ink, add more glaze if need be, but I'm going to let that dry and let's work on a donut. And I so hope that I do not start feeding for donuts, because I tell you, the last time I worked with donuts, I went straight to the store. I must have ate donuts for a week. Okay, so let's work with this shape here, and we're basically doing the same thing. Take your dark color alcohol marker and color your edges. Now this is optional, you don't have to do this. I like the definition that it gives. It stands out. You could use any color you like because donut glaze comes in all colors. What I also did was took another brown alcohol marker and colored my donut. Now you could do the inside, you could do the outside too. It don't matter. So give it a little bit of color. And you see the difference that alcohol marker makes. And then take your glaze. We're going to glaze it up. It may seem like I'm using a lot of glaze, but I'm really not. You do not have to fill the cavity. You just want to add enough to get it moving. Okay, and then you choose the color of glaze you want. You know, I want to go with something different than brown. It's a pretty color. And you're going to drop in a couple of drops. You don't want to put in too much. And you see how that alcohol just moves? I love it. You know, when I first started crafting, I worked a lot with the alcohol. I need to go back to those foundational. If your mixture becomes too thick with the alcohol, just add more glaze to thin it out. You could even, I've done this, I've thinned out my glaze with water. If you saw my mason jar fruit embellishment tutorial, I used a similar technique here, but I believe in that video I thinned out my glaze with water. I didn't feel like doing it. Let's add some purple sprinkles. Ooh, I love how that looks. This is by Martha Stewart. Look at my donut. I think I want to make the donut base a little bit darker, but I'll color it more when it dries. But take a look at the back. So you really could use this embellishment either way, but I believe it's meant, and I say believe because this technique is new to me, to use it with the cavity facing up. But I love how that turned out. Okay, here are my final finished resin embellishment pieces, and I love how these turned out. Off camera, I made a peppermint iced cafe. Take a look at it. And for this one, I have my whipped cream facing me. I might go back and add acetate on the top, but then again, I do like the contrast of this one. Ooh, and that peppermint looks real in there. By the way, that's peppermint candy. So depending on the colors of alcohol markers and re-inkers that you use, you can achieve an ice cafe for any theme. This is Christmas, of course, and well, this is like all year, it's chocolate, but this could be fall, so you could really get creative and have fun. Now, some of you may wonder, well, what do you do with pieces like this? First of all, let me say, you can thin your pieces. It all depends on how much mold or how much resin you add to your molds. So I made mine on the thicker side. Now molding, it's an art all by itself. Pieces like this, your larger pieces, will be great for a chunky album or chunky book. You could even make these into ornaments, right? You will see in a future video how I easily turn these into an ornament. Of course, the smaller ones you could use as embellishments on your cards. Wouldn't that be nice? And then for your larger pieces, they could be embellishments for your album covers. You could use these in a home decor. You could turn it into jewelry. I mean, I can go on and on and on. Now, I'm starting a molding series, so you do want to subscribe if you are interested in learning more about making molds. I have another creative molding video coming up. And that's going to be super fun. I have linked my molding playlist in my description box. Also, I have links to the acetate that I'm using and the liquid plastic or the resin that I am using. Now, I have a tutorial coming up. Well, I have many, right? But I got a request to offer a tutorial on my mason jars. In this video, I showed how to use your alcohol re-inkers and markers, but I'm going to share a different coloring technique in the mason jar tutorial video. Now this is so super fun. Well, I want to thank you all for watching. If you have been inspired by my creativity, why not give me a thumbs up? Once again, if you are interested in more molding tutorials, go ahead and subscribe right now. Feel free to share this video. Feel free to adopt any of my ideas. I only ask for proper credits. Do give shout outs and do link back to this tutorial. Well, I want to thank you all for watching. As always, blessings.